the ultimate acquisitions process for massive success in your real estate wholesaling operations. What's up, guys? Zach Ginn here, and in today's video, I interview Dan from New York, who's running a seven-figure wholesaling operation and years and decades of sales experience, how he's running his acquisitions process, and it is a treat to know. Before we get in the video, guys, remember you need to smash that like button and subscribe to the most true value from me, and let's get in the video. What we're talking about here is your acquisition side. How did you develop your acquisition skills? Because you haven't been wholesaling for like 20 years like some of these other guys. You've kind of developed them very well, very fast. So how did you do that?
So I got into sales while I was in college. I learned the Sandler sales method when I was in college. I did a financial services internship, and I'm so grateful that they taught the Sandler sales model. So I learned that 13 years ago, and I've been in sales roles ever since then. So, you know, I've learned every sales model and methodology under the book. Sandler is still my favorite. I brought a lot of stuff back for me for the Sandler sales model. So what I do, you know, I haven't been wholesaling for 20 years, but I have been selling professionally for 13. So I think I did the math because I never worked 40 hours a week. I always worked like 50, 60, 70 hours a week. So, you know, I don't know. They say you need 10,000 hours to master a skill. I have like 30,000 something hours in sales. So it's like, I've been doing this a long time. And then, you know, the fundamentals of sales are pretty simple and straightforward. It's just, you got to apply it to a new situation. So, you know, getting the prospect emotionally involved in the sale. And that's the number one area where I think a lot of people make mistakes, is that they keep everything way too intellectual, and they go into price at the wrong time or way too early. They're not really getting to the real pain points. They are focusing on these surface level issues, which aren't the real problem. And so when you're not addressing the real problem, you're not going to get a real good price. And I always like to say that the price is a reflection of the problem that you're solving.
Yep.
And so when you're solving the right problem, when you're solving a big problem, and when you get them emotionally connected to the fact that you are solving a big issue for them, that they have some real feeling behind, they are no longer thinking about getting the highest price possible. They're thinking about, what do I need to do to solve this problem? And that's where you need to get them. How do I get rid of this pain? How do I eliminate this frustration or this worry or this anger? How do I get rid of that? And now they're not thinking about, how do I get top dollar for my house? They're thinking about, how do I get rid of that pain? And then you go into price. That's right away. Now you go into price. And they're still emotional. And so you get the best price right then. So I think people they go into the price conversation at the completely wrong time in the completely wrong way. And frankly, a lot of people don't know how to get into that at all. They go into these appointments and they're just winging it. They don't have a plan. They don't have a system. They don't have a process that can produce repeatable, consistent results, because they're not treating it like a business. And you can't expect any level of consistency or success if you're not doing something that you can measure off of and that you can tweak and know what is working and know what's not. If you're just winging it and doing something different each and every time, and you're not actually tracking anything, how are you going to know what's working and what's not? You'll just have no idea, and you're going to feel uncomfortable going in, and the seller's going to feel uncomfortable because you don't really know what you're doing, and like, you might say some weird stuff, or it might just be awkward or uncomfortable, and you might be too aggressive, or try to close really hard. Like, if you have to close really hard, you did something wrong. Like, the way that I do my sales method, like, I close so soft because I did everything before that. Like, when I get to the closing part, it's just like a natural conclusion to the appointment. It's like, okay, so now this makes sense. Like I said in the beginning of the appointment, like if this makes sense, this is what would happen next. And here we are. You're telling me this makes sense. So now we sign the agreement. Like it's very soft. It's very straightforward. And what I just said aren't my exact words when I'm at the appointment, but that's sort of what's going on in my head. It's that it's very smooth. And so people that are getting into this, or even in this right now, that aren't having the level of consistent success that they're looking for, they're probably lacking true systems that will allow them to have that consistency and predictability.
I can tell you the soft close beats the hard one every single time. I've read so many Sandler like books. I mean, the way I really like his stuff is because you're not selling, you're basically having the seller sell themselves in their head. And I think it's so much different than the average wholesaler, especially one in my market. Like they'll go out there guns blazing.
Yep.
I mean, it's absolute killer. I mean, you mentioned before that you basically people give the offer on the wrong time and you kind of make it pretty natural. So when you're walking on the appointment, can you give us a quick brief in like a minute, your process to go through if like you get stuck, like, oh shoot, what do I do now? Like what's kind of the flow of it?
If you get stuck on the price,
No, like, hey, like you're walking, you talk about the house and then the offer, like what's kind of the flow for you?
Yeah. So first thing I do, so the upfront agreement. So whatever you want to call it, it's a series of agreements where you're basically setting the agenda and getting permission. So when I go there, I'm getting permission to ask questions. I'm getting permission to ask personal questions. I'm making sure that they still have the amount of time that we need. I'm telling them what's going to happen on this appointment, what they can expect. I'm figuring out if they want to cover anything in particular. I'm going over, hey, if we end up working together, great. If not, that's fine too. And that's truly how I feel, because if it's not a good fit, then I don't want to work with them anyway. And I say, so if it's not a good fit, that's totally fine. If it is a good fit, here's what would happen next. And then from there, so I get the upfront agreement right out in the open. I confirm with them that I'm there to buy a house. And when I'm there, I'm either looking for a yes or a no. Either one's totally fine. But if I hear anything other than a yes, I just take it as a no. And like I was sharing with you before, if I'm not getting a yes right then and there, the chances of actually doing a deal is almost zero. Yeah. So I just say, when people share with me that if they say anything other than a yes, if they say, let me think about it, I want to talk with this person or that person, I say, when people tell me that sort of thing, it almost always means no. And so if I hear anything like that, I'm just going to take it as a no. And right off the bat, that just creates a huge difference in their mind. They look at you differently because they aren't used to people saying that. They aren't used to salespeople coming in and telling them that they can say no, and that I might say no. I might tell them that I'm not interested in buying their house. And I tell them that. And so I just take away all the pressure and I get them to agree to everything I'm about to do. So there's no surprises. There's no hard close. There's total agreement on everything that's about to happen. And that right there, it eliminates 99% of the objections that you're going to get. And in my opinion, that's the best way to handle an objection, is get to it before they ever bring it up. And then you don't have to deal with it. If you bring it up first, it's never going to be an issue. And so then I go through the house, I take my video, I'm shooting photos while I'm taking the video. It's a super efficient way to do it. Most phones can do that right now. You just shoot a video, and while you're there's a little button for a camera, and you just take photos while you're shooting the video. You have a full video and photos all at the same time. Your buyers will love it. And then I go into the pain funnel, and a lot of times I haven't spoken with these sellers before. And so I like to use, softening statements or transitions to pretty much get to say whatever I need to say. And so I need to get them back into the pain funnel where they're talking about their motivation, their pain points. And so I'll say something like, I know a lot of this will probably be a repetition of a conversation you already have had, but would you just catch me up to speed? I mean, what has you even considering selling this property? And then they'll go into their story. And I've found that instead of just saying, so why are you selling? Or when I enter it with, a little understanding, like, I know you've probably already had this discussion, but would you just catch me up to speed? Like that right there, that statement reduces so much of the pushback that I ever get. And then they just open up. Then I go through the full pain funnel, really dig down to get that true motivation, that true feeling behind why they want to sell. Then I strike on price. So as soon as I hear something like, yeah, it's really frustrating, it's really disappointing, some emotional language, then I go straight into price. So what price range did you have in mind? And then a lot of times once they're at that point, once they've given me the pain, a lot of times you'll just get the price you need right off the bat. Yeah. But you don't want to respond to it the way that it's like you think it's a great price. You pretty much respond to it the same every time. You respond like, oh man, that's, a little higher than I thought it was going to be. And then you can, there's a lot of different tactics. You can use hypotheticals. You can use, well, this is what other people are paying, or, if someone were to offer you this, what would happen then? There's a lot of ways to go about doing it. And then there's simple, it's from there, it's a very simple progression. If you agree to a price, say, okay, so now, if I can do this, solve this problem, and what would happen next? And they say, well, you'd buy my house. And they're pretty much closing themselves at that point.
Wow. Okay. And are you still following the Sandler method? So you're following the Sandler method of doing it, but are you kind of doing other methods where you're kind of still like pushing back and leaving? Like always be leaving? Like, are you kind of doing that too?
Oh yeah. I do a lot of people call it slacklining or pulling back, or yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think about it when I explain it, it's just like dating. So if there are two people and they're sort of like the initial part of dating, and like one person's pulling away, the other one senses that and they start to go after them. Or if one person's going after too hard, the other one starts pulling away. And so it's that same thing. So if you start pulling away, like, you know what, I don't even know if this is a house I'm going to buy. And they'll be like, whoa, wait, you don't want to buy my house? Like, what? I can go down in price. Like they'll start coming after you. And so it's the same way. Like, that's why I tell them, like, I might not buy this house. Or, are you okay if I say no? Like, I might say no. I might say that this isn't a house that I'm going to buy. And that sort of thing. It's just, they don't hear that from other buyers. They just don't. And it creates this completely different perspective and puts you in a totally different light. And to be better, you have to be different.
100%. It's such a funny analogy. I use it all the time, but it's true. Thank you so much for watching that video today. If you want more free value for wholesaling real estate, remember to smash that like button and subscribe. Guys, if you want to join the best wholesaling real estate mentorship in the planet and join the wholesaling course that has the most people in it in the history of the world for wholesaling real estate, go to freewholesaling.com. It's free. There's no gimmicks. There's no upsells in this course. It is an absolute free wholesaling course. I've been told to charge thousands and thousands of dollars for it. I give it out for free. So like this video and subscribe. Join the movement for wholesaling real estate and go to freewholesaling.com and join my Wholesaling Houses for Real Facebook group. That is the largest mastermind in the country of like-minded wholesaling entrepreneurs who want to get connected absolutely for free and learn wholesaling real estate. Guys, I'll hope to see you there. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Have a blessed one.